The following 30 heads of the zone girdling the earth come under the zodiacal sign of Libra. Their seals, for the first evocation, have to be drawn in green. Figure 205, Thyrina, 1 degree Libra. This head controls the sexual sphere of man. The propagation of mankind falls therefore under his competence. Thyrina can give many instructions and methods how the magician is to impregnate magically his own seed with various qualities before having sexual intercourse, so that these qualities pass over into the generated child. The magician is provided with full knowledge, by this head, in respect of the prenatal education of a child, i.e. the embodying of certain faculties, hereditary factors, etc., in a magical manner, during the baby's sojourn in the womb. Figure 206, Apollyon, 2 degrees Libra. This head has inspired mankind since its creation in respect of the working up of metals, depending on their state of development. Apollyon is regarded as the original initiator of all those people who have been occupied with the working up of metals, no matter whether founder, smith, engineer, mechanic, or the like. Apollyon not only is the original initiator into all the ideas in this field, but he also is their loyal custodian. Figure 207, Becker, 3 degrees Libra. This head already taught the primitive peoples of the days of yore by inspiration that animal meat eaten in a raw state is not so delicious as roasted or cooked. He inspired a few individuals how to tell the difference between the various kinds of meat by tasting them and taught them by intuition to prepare many meat dishes. For the preparation of such meat dishes man started rearing domestic animals, so that during the course of time stock farming was developed, whereby Pekka has always been, and still is, a good inspirer of mankind also in this respect. Smoked and tinned meat also come under the competence of this head. If requested by the magician, this intelligence will initiate him into the art of cooking and will acquaint him with many recipes for the preparation of meat dishes which so far have never been known. Figure 208, Naga, 4 degrees Libra. The fertility and the power of propagation of men and women come under the power of this head. He controls by his vibrations the sexual sphere of both man and woman and decides on the ability for life in the seed. The magician may be informed by Naga how to maintain his sexual faculties up to great age and, furthermore, how sterility and impotence in respect of woman and man can be treated successfully. The magician can get a wealth of additional information on this field from this head. Figure 209, Toilet, 5 degrees Libra. This head controls the feeding habits of man and shows him which kind of food is necessary for the maintenance of his health and what is harmful. Toilet is also the initiator into all recipes for diets. By this intelligence the magician is taught the difference between the electric, the magnetic and the electromagnetic fluids in their relation to the various dishes and how to take them into consideration in the case of illness. This head also draws the magician's attention to the diverse kinds of food which serve as stimulants for the production of special states of mind. Figure 210, Parmeza, 6 degrees Libra, is a master of gaiety and lets man laugh and enjoy himself from his very core. Under his competence fall amusing ideas, jokes, jests, anecdotes, comedies, and other sorts of entertainment. He or his subordinates inspire man to tell funny jokes and such like stories, or to write and perform them. The magician may get the most amusing ideas from this head or his subordinates to enable him to entertain whole parties, and the like. If the magician is in contact with this head, he will himself become convinced that Parmeza always shows himself full of gaiety. Figure 211, Jasigos, 7 degrees Libra. Wood and everything connected with it falls under the competence of this head. He is the guardian angel of all those people who are occupied with wood and its working, for instance, lumberjacks, carpenters, joiners, cabinet makers, tanners, carvers, pattern makers, etc. If the magician is interested in any of these fields, he can learn much from this head that has not been known up to this date, for instance. The impregnation of wood against all influences from elements, means which give wood, even the softest kind of wood, great resistance and duration, so that it can only be compared with steel. This head can make known to the magician many other interesting new ideas. Figure 212, Sotari, 8 degrees Libra, is the original initiator into all musical instruments that man has ever used, the most modern ones of the present age included. Sotari inspires all composers. He teaches the magician who has musical talent or is interested in music to adapt each musical piece to the relevant element and, vice versa, to express harmonically, i.e., according to the universal laws, what he wants to express by music. This head may justly be called the musician of the zone girdling the earth. Figure 213, Bottom above, 9 degrees Libra, the clothes and headgear of man have been under the power of this head right from the prime origin up to the present day. He controls the clothes and headgear of man and influences them according to climate, weather, maturity, personal attitude, and so on. Bottom above is the inspirer of each momentary fashion, so that rank, social position, religions, etc., are also taken into consideration. Furthermore, he suggests to man out of which material his clothes and headgear are to be made. Therefore all fashion designers and fashion creators, tailors, dressmakers, milliners, etc. are protected by him. If the magician is interested, he can have all fashions of all peoples, beginning from the prime origin to the present day, presented to him by this head in the Akasha principle. He can even view the fashions of the days to come. Figure 214, Omana, 10 degrees Libra, the hairy covering of the human body forms a part of the competence of this head. He is the inspirer of all coiffures and kinds of beards. Hairdressers and barbers of both sexes are constantly under his influence. All inventions referring to the growing of beards and hair, starting from the simple comb up to the most modern apparatus, from razor blade to the electric razor, are controlled by this head. The magician who gets into touch with this intelligence may learn which substances will make hair grow and which will remove unwanted hairs, etc. Omana can also make the magician acquainted with diverse substances for hair dyeing. Having personally evoked this head, I was shown, in the Akasha principle, the hair color of the future. Chemical substances will no longer be necessary, for these usually do harm to the roots of the hairs. The hair of man will be dyed by radiation apparatus without any evil effects on the hair and the hair bed. However, I have been forbidden to say more about this. Nevertheless, the future will bring the proof of the prediction. Figure 215, Legeros, 11 degrees Libra, directly by himself or indirectly by the influence of his subordinates. This head helps the magician to gain the favor of very important people, to have petitions handed into them approved, etc. This head can cause a very important person to take a benevolent attitude towards the magician. He can create favorable situations, and the like. Figure 216, Aphoi, 12 degrees Libra, this head is an initiator and master of the high magic of love. He teaches the magician how to produce many wonders in the mental, astral and physical world by the dynamization of divine qualities, especially of divine love and mercy. Figure 217, Rigolan, 13 degrees Libra, is the initiator into all kinds of wooing, starting from the origin of mankind. He himself or his subordinates inspire man with all possible kinds of wooing. If the magician wants to learn the art of wooing, if he wants to be regarded as an amiable person everywhere, and if, furthermore, he intends to get into good company, this head can help him. He advises the magician on how to gain the affection of a certain person, how to get into his favor, etc. Figure 218, Rikita, 14 degrees Libra, is a master of singing. If the magician wishes it, he will equip him with a lovely voice which will fascinate people. Therefore this head may justly be called the protector of all male and female singers, so matter whether singing is their profession or their special hobby when in company. Rikita shows the ways and the means how to cultivate one's voice. Figure 219, Tapam, 15 degrees Libra, this head is an excellent artist and is appointed to awake in the magician a sense for arts. He is the original initiator into everything that has to do with embellishment and ornamentation. The decorations used for festivities, shop windows, etc. He is, at the same time, the original initiator of all kinds of advertising. If the magician is in need of his assistance, this head will be prepared to help him at any time. Figure 220, Nachero, 16 degrees Libra, controls the health and duration of life of all animals on Earth. He is also the controlling spirit for all instincts. Therefore he inspires man with all the curing methods and remedies against the various diseases of animals. Under his control are all zoologists, veterinary surgeons and tamers of wild animals. Nachero inspires the magician with a great variety of healing methods and medicines for diseased animals. He can also communicate many magic practices to be applied on animals, for instance, such by which milking animals are caused to give much milk, or such practices by which they can be protected against unfavorable influences, etc. Figure 221, Arata, 17 degrees Libra. This head is the initiator of all intoxicating drinks. From the prime origin he has been teaching man by intuition how to make the most diverse kinds of intoxicating drinks, for instance, wine, mead, beer, liquor, etc. which are to put man into a happy mood and make him bear his lot more easily. However, this head must not be mistaken for the contra-genius of this sphere who controls the notorious drunkards. All those people are protected by Arata who have to do with the production and selling of alcoholic drinks. The magician may get from this head excellent recipes for the production of wine, beer and liquor, and, on top of this, certain advice on how these beverages can be ameliorated by various methods. He also reveals to the magician magic recipes and instructions on how, for instance, he can, under the influence of the amalgamation of elements, change water into wine. Furthermore, how he can protect himself successfully against the influence of the alcohol contained in these beverages, so that even great quantities of alcohol will never leave him sober. Figure 222, Malata, 18 degrees Libra, explains to the magician the secrets of human and animal blood. He not only tells him about its classification in groups and Rh factors, which is already known to the medical science of today, but many more things in the fields of science like medicine, chemistry, physiology, psychology, laws of heredity, etc. Apart from this, Malatu initiates the magician into the secrets of the blood from the magic and alchemical points of view, which, if put down on paper, would fill many volumes. Figure 223, Ariath, 19 degrees Libra, is the guardian angel of all women on earth delivering babies. Having always taken into consideration the states of development and maturity, this head has inspired man with the various methods of midwifery, starting from the most primitive deliveries up to the most modern methods of gynecology. He therefore is the protector of all gynecologists, midwives, etc. Ariath draws the magician's attention to the diverse magic and sympathetic methods for a painless delivery. Figure 224, Agicus, 20 degrees Libra, man still faces many great problems and mysteries in electrochemistry, and they will not be revealed to him until the far-off future. However, this head can unveil to the magician many secrets in this respect and entrust him with the relevant knowledge. Agicus is the original initiator into galvanic electricity. Following his intuitive inspirations, men have invented batteries, accumulators, the dissolving of metals by electricity, catalysts, etc. Electrohomeopathy, too, comes under the competence of this head. He allowed me to look into the future, and I saw tiny quantities of chemical compounds changing into great electrical discharges with an immense voltage and amperage, the knowledge of which will be of great value to men in the technical and domestic domain. To give details about this here, would sound incredible and too much like a fairy story, and, in order not to sound ridiculous, I desist from giving any details. When mankind is more mature and more developed, a few eminent individuals will be inspired by this head with new inventions and discoveries. Figure 225, Chiakasif, 21 degrees Libra, is regarded as the original initiator into mathematics on the earth. The range of competence of this head varies from the easiest adding operations to the most difficult mathematical problems expressed by astronomical figures, including the basic ideas of the mathematical figure, of measurements and weights in relation to matter. From this head the magician may learn, for instance, how to express an idea in mathematical figures, and he may, on the other side, be informed how to accumulate intellectually the knowledge of quantities and qualities. The magician is also initiated by Chiakasaf into the so-called quabalistic quadruple key, which brings the four fundamental mathematical operations, i.e., adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing, into relation to quabalistic science, to the elements of the micro and macrocosm. Chiakasaf is a very powerful head, and the magician may learn from him more than enough. Figure 226, Ornian, 22 degrees Libra, is the initiator into physiology. He does not only teach the magician the usual facts about physiology, but also lets him look at this field of science from the Hermetic point of view. Ornian makes the magician acquainted with all the necessary scientific facts by which the latter can tell the character and personal peculiarities of an individual already by his appearance. For the reader's information, I mention here a number of faculties which this head can awake in the magician: the art of reading from a person's face, physiognomy; the art of reading from a person's forehead; the art of chiromancy, of diagnosing from fingers and fingernails, from the eyes, etc. Figure 227, Geroniranus, 23 degrees Libra, is the initiator into physics. Everything that has been explored in this field up to the present day has happened on account of the intuitive inspiration by this head. The magician may not only learn from this intelligence about the achievements of physics in the far future, but he may also be initiated into all phases of metaphysics and receive instructions on how to make practical use of this. This head can also initiate the magician into astrophysics. Figure 228, Ishtaroth, 24 degrees Libra, is a protector of loyalty. He keeps together man and woman in fidelity. If the magician wishes it, he can, with the assistance of this head or his subordinates, influence any person, man or woman, so that they will never be disloyal. He can also, by the help of this head, discover any cause of infidelity or hinder it before it starts. Ishtaroth can change the magician's worst enemy into his best friend and secure him the love, friendship and sympathy of any person. Figure 229, Hymen, 25 degrees Libra, instructs the magician in the transmutation of the sexual power of man and entrusts him with various relevant practices that so far have remained quite unknown. Hymen knows about the most secret mysteries in this line. The magician may learn very much from this head, such as, for instance, how to increase or decrease sexual power, how this can be transmuted for various magical practices into the original elemental substance, etc. He can also give information on new, so far unknown compounds of hormones, and of many other things. Figure 230, Canley, 26 degrees Libra, has been, from the days of yore, the initiator into jewelry of any kind. He controls, by his subordinates, all novelties in the fashion of jewelry, for instance, rings, bracelets, precious stones, in short, any kind of jewelry that is for wearing. All the people are protected by this head who are involved in the manufacture of jewels, i.e., gold miners, goldsmiths, jewelers, etc. The magician may also learn many interesting things from Canley in this respect. Figure 231, Aglasis, 27 degrees Libra, everything connected with milk in respect of man and animal comes under the competence of this head, who is justly regarded as the guardian of babies and the mammals. Aglasis has, during the course of time, taught mankind to milk animals, and not only to use the milk as a beverage, but also for the making of other products. Thus man has learned to produce from milk butter, cottage cheese, and so on. The working up of milk is still very far from having reached its climax, and the magician may be introduced into many novelties in this respect. Figure 232, Mercury, 28 degrees Libra. All animals living in the water and their propagation are under the competence of this head. Mercury is the protector of all fishermen on earth. He is responsible for good and bad luck in fishing. He has taught mankind to tin fish. This industry, too, is far from having reached its summit, and there are still many discoveries to be made which will astonish man. The magician is taught by this head how to control the water animals by the magic of elements and by Quabella, how they, for instance, can be caused to congregate at certain places, etc. He may, furthermore, hear about many other practices concerning the controlling of water animals. Figure 233, Phylacian, 29 degrees Libra. This head has inspired mankind with the sense of orderliness and cleanness. During the evolution of man, everything connected with the hygiene of the health and the sick has come under the control of this head. Under his special care are all those people who have to deal with hygiene in medicine. Phylacian is also the originator of the fact that many diseases are caused by infection. He renders the means to man to recognize these and protect himself against them. Phylacian is the protector and initiator of all bacteriologists, toxicologists and other people who deal with the research of diseases caused by bacteria, bacilli, virus, etc. This head draws the magician's attention to diseases which at the moment are regarded as the scourge of mankind, and which are being caused by infection. He does not only make the magician acquainted with the true cause of a disease, but he also tells him confidently how any disease can be coped with successfully. If the magician wishes it, he will tell him about diseases which up to this date have remained unknown and about the way in which they can be cured. Figure 234, Megalogai, 30 degrees Libra, is somehow connected with the head dealt with before. He guards all the medicinal springs on earth. He even causes animals to step into certain waters instinctively in case of injuries. With Megalogai's assistance, man has learned from the animals how they cure themselves of certain diseases, and he has used these observations to his own advantage. Thus the various treatments by medicinal waters were introduced, and the many places with mineral springs have been changed into health resorts for the welfare of man. Megalogai does not only lead the magician's attention towards mineral springs which up to now have not yet been discovered, but he also initiates him into the complete field of hydrotherapy, and entrusts him with practices which are still completely unknown to science.